Very happy to welcome people around the table. So we will try to understand, thanks to researchers like Dr. Belardi, that have made a work about the heritage and what we have to save about heritage and how we can project in the future that, and how Artistic Perfumery and Mastige are working on this concept in a different manner. I'm very happy to announce here and to present two committees. We have a committee in France that is a little elder, okay, and Marie Huet is the president of Comité Josephine. And we have Stefania Giannino that is here to announce that we have a committee in Italy now, that is Caterina de Medici. And so that is perfect about what Dr. Belardi will tell us at the beginning. And then we have Luc Gabriel, that I thank so much because Luc is one of the first fighters trying to let the people know that a perfume is not a poison, and especially to convince the community and the European community that there is no real reason to forbid something we love so much and we would like to use as ingredients to create masterpieces. Later on, we have John Vitrey, welcome too, that has a long experience as a distributor in different markets and will be capable to let us know what is the difficulties sometimes to let the people to understand what artistic perfumery is, how to work with the network, and what is the potential of this work. So the aim obviously is to let you, but also us, to understand what artistic perfumery is. So I'd like to introduce you Dr. Belardi, that will give us an overview of something about the heritage, potential, and values under, let me say, artistic historical point of view. And then we let the committee to introduce their job and their aim and what they would like to do. And more importantly, and that is the work of Esxence, is to let them to cooperate worldwide. We need to give identity, and identity is made of person, heritage, work, investment, research and development. That is what we have to do. Thank you so much. Dr. Belardi, please.
Thank you. I can start? Me?
No.
Okay. So, can you hear me, right? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Claudia Belardi. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you, Mr. Levi. From a background in antique books and library studies, I added to this an executive master in luxury goods management, and I made an in-depth analysis of the so-called heritage marketing strategies applied by both newborn brands in artistic perfumery and historical maisons. Artistic perfumery, as we know, is a very peculiar industry. Does it work? Doesn't work?
Can we have the next slide, please?
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So we have both historical maisons and newborn brands. We have legendary past creations which have become iconic, and we have innovative patents. So these two sides, heritage and innovation, both exist. We have traditional crafting techniques which have been developed since early years. And we have the high-tech tools which have developed quite recently. We have centuries-old workshops which in some cases have been turned into corporate museums. And we have installed flagships which look like 18th century workshop, but instead they are just been established. So, historical maisons, their peculiar characters are their legendary names, their rich heritage. They have family legacies. Sometimes have lasted for centuries. So, fifth, sixth generation of owners. They have secret recipes of their iconic creations. And still, we have traditional crafting techniques like enfleurage. And the newborn brands, they have strong cultural and aesthetic contents. They have more willingness to take risks because they are unusual. They look for innovative formulations because they have to build an heritage of their own. So they tend to use a lot of vintage images and to put themselves into an ancient tradition. So my field of studies is heritage marketing. Heritage marketing is a very powerful tool. It's a strategic way of marketing aimed to revamp an historical brand legacy or to put this newcomer into an ancient tradition. This in order to bestow an aura of history on brands and products. It's a very skillful strategy for historical companies so they can make themselves known also to new generations, for example, or to use the internet and the new technologies. And it's a unique resource for newcomers so that they can acquire more easily this heritage of their own and acquire more credibility. Added values are a good story to tell, but you need a great way to tell it and a coherent image. So we have a quotation from Cap Ferrer-Bastien, which is the Bible of luxury marketing, let's say, and you have to create your product epic saga so that it becomes really, really a new icon, a modern icon. So branded fragrances, the fragrances which are not included into what we used to call artistic perfumery, they are characterized in this last decade by old maisons remaining in activity which have been acquired by strong luxury groups, or the same maisons but which fall into oblivion and they were revamped by these luxury groups. These groups tend to do brand extension so that if you have a car company or a fashion company, you create your own perfumes. These companies have strong financial means. They have marketing campaigns which are massive. They can have a global reach because they have really, really rich resources. They are big groups, and they can use very skillfully the e-commerce websites. They have higher production volumes, so they can still reach a more global field, but it's not that artistic anymore, let's say. They have less willingness to take risks, and the old perfume recipes are adapted to modern tastes, so they tend not to be so original, but of course they are less riskful. The common features of our perfume brands which adopt heritage marketing strategies. In research and developments, they tend to use traditional, long-forgotten ingredients. They idealize the founder. So, for example, we have by Kilian here, Kilian Hennessy, so it's a very idealized figure coming from this very ancient tradition, family tradition. We have storytelling, greatly evocative tones. We have in-style visual merchandising so that you can see windows adapted like museums, and inspiration from vintage packaging, of course. Old maisons have particular specificities. They have original factories or original stores which have soon been turned into museums. They preserve their original crafting techniques. They recreate original recipes. They collect it from their original archives. They use antique objects for visual merchandising. And on the websites, they use archival documents. And we have newcomers, which are particularly interesting into heritage marketing, because these brands are able to convey an aura of history, of heritage, but in fact they have been born just from, I don't know, 10 years or 5 years or just 2. So they have strong artistic content. Sometimes these companies make a turnaround and a rebranding of an old maison. So we can have Sir Trudon, for example. They acquire historical collections so that a newborn brand has an historical museum inside the flagship store, for example. They create lines inspired by ancient legends and traditions, the Bible, the Orient. And they do have in-style furnishing. So, for example, here again, we have Officina Universelle Bully, and it's just born the other day, but it looks like an 18th century workshop. So, the fundamental role of innovation in heritage marketing, because for a brand, in order not to look old, antique, and not attractive, especially to young generation, to millennials, you have to put a strong innovation. So old recipes, but for example, new alembics, let's say. So a new way, a new visual, new packaging, technical advancement, absolutely, and patents, which can coexist together with the antique ones, and of course, social networks, websites. So basically, the strong points of artistic perfumery are a strong credibility, especially with reference to sophisticated and cultivated customers. A strong power of fascination upon the public, so you can reach also a more global audience. Artistic and creative spirit maintained above all. There are, of course, threats. Strict regulations involving perfume components could be detrimental to the production of artistic perfumery fragrances, especially when we look for these long forgotten ingredients of iconic creations. And a good story is not enough anymore. Customers, and especially the ones from the so-called emerging countries, are more and more selective, more and more sophisticated, so that a showy logo and a high price are not enough anymore to convince them. And innovation is a must. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you need further information, my email address. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Bravo, you can stay perfectly in the time. I think once again, so we started understanding that what I call research and development. Research and development is not necessarily working in a lab, making something new, is also to invest in a proper manner on heritage and projecting the heritage in the future. So I'd like to let the committee to speak. And so first of all, Marie Huet, that is the president of Comité Josephine, that is in that moment the elder in our, and so they started before, they collect together, and that I appreciate so much, collecting together different brands, different story, but they are working together with the same aim, and that is so important. And so, please, Marie.
Hello. For those who don't know me, I'm Marie Huet, I'm the owner of Parfum d'Orsay. And I am owning the company since 8 years, but this company is 200 years old. When I arrived in this industry 8 years ago, I just came from a totally different universe. And the first thing I've seen is that it's a huge market, absolutely unstructured. Mostly in France, because I know, for example, that in Italy you are better on that. But worldwide speaking, and in French speaking, it was like huge and totally unstructured. We heard about rare fragrances, niche perfumes, artistic perfumery, and thousands of names to define hundreds of companies, totally different as Dr. Belardi just explained to us. And it is very hard when you arrive in this market to understand what you can do. And mostly because you are a small company, you work alone or maybe with 2-3 person, you are not huge. So you have to go and to go against very big industry like the perfumery industry, which is very big. So you have to understand that. And when I arrived there, I met some people like Silvio. It was one of the first men I met in the industry. I am very lucky, I guess. And other people who explained to me how they work. And the first thing I think is that we have to group ourselves. And I was hopefully not alone thinking that, so I met a lot of other owners of a perfume brand, and from 8 years, so you know, it took 8 years to go there, but we finally decided to join our forces, to go together, and to understand how we can help each other with the aim to identify, differentiate ourselves, and be heard. And the best goal is to make the customers, the distributors, the retailers to understand how we work our industry and how we can go with them and how we can work all together to make the artistic perfumery more understandable. So we were people like Nicolas Chabot, Anna Estevan, Johann, Gabriel, or François Hénin from Jovois, and we decided all to work together, trying to create that Comité Joséphine, to federate, represent, help, defend, and promote the French houses of rare fragrances and our biggest view, all the rare fragrances industry. So we give a name to our association. We took the name of Joséphine because of Joséphine de Beauharnais, Joséphine Bonaparte, which is one of the most famous French historical person. And because she was different on her universe, she always tried to find a way to be different on the very strict environment. She was passionate of science, of botany, so we thought quite easily to her to give up the name of our committee. So what is Comité Joséphine? It's an association founded just in last September, so we are very new. We represent today 14 brands, and we hope to represent very more. There is almost 100 French perfume brands, so we have some work to go on. What we want to do apart from this association is to create like a label who will guarantee to the customer, to the retailers, to the distributor that there is behind the brand part of the Comité Joséphine quality, made in France, and the rareness, to respect the rareness and of the development and of the distribution. Johann will explain to you later on how we work for that, but it's one of our aims. So as I told you, the mission is to federate, means that we have to all work together to go in this industry and to try to structure it, to represent, like Luc will just explain to you. We want to represent the French industry in front of the embassy, in front of the European Committee and Health Commission, thank you, to help, because we are here to help. There is every year, you can see here new brands, so we are here as well to help them to enter in this market, to let them feel that they are not alone anymore, that we are here to give them the rules and to help to go on. And finally, to promote this industry in front of the people, which is one of the most important things in France, because in France, the rare perfumery is almost not known. So we have a lot of work. We just began, and we really hope that we will go on with this committee for long years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie. And now another big lady that is Caterina de Medici, that is represented not by Caterina, but by someone else that is.
My name is Stefania, not Caterina. It's not my own association, of course. But thanks to also the example of the French committee, we met them last October. We had the courage to start this association. I have to say the courage because as Italian we are not really able to to be a group. And yes, no, this is the history of Italy is it was like that. I mean, we are not able to join each other, and we are always great individual companies. We like to be alone, to be different, to be unique, and to be a group. This is another matter. So this is really a sort of challenge. It's a challenge from our side. We started practically 10 days ago. We signed this association, 3 of us. Of course, we could be more, but at the beginning, because it's difficult to really assemble all the ideas and try to start and to make the startup, we decided to be less, but we hope to be really larger in a few times. And I really believe in that, as Marie told before. I don't want to repeat the same things because, of course, we are really sister companies. Everything was made together. We decided to make also the evaluation very similar to the French ones, because it's important that the companies that join or the Italian or the French have the same requisites and the same values. What we want, both of us, is to create really a prestigious association of companies that has as a main topics the quality, okay? Because we like to say that as Italian artistic perfumery, we probably have also. No, it's not necessary because I am speaking like this, because the same topics of Marie, and I don't want to repeat the same things. I just want to tell you that we are proud to be in this market, and Italy has had also a good an important position because we started first to underline the needs, no? Even starting from, of course, the traditional artistic perfumeries up to the newcomers. I can consider myself an old newcomer, but anyway, I am a newcomer in this market. And I think that the Italian Association should join all the companies that wants, to keep very high this market. It's a question of it's a cultural questions, in my opinion. It's very, very important. To be inside means that we keep really high the range of the market. We need to distinguish, and also to let our customers distinguish what is good and what is really similar. It's a sort of imitation of the artistic perfumery. And this is not, of course, made by us directly, but with help of a technical commission. We selected very careful the people that need to judge this requisite. It's not myself, it's not any other brands that are inside of this association that can be the judge. But we have several experts that are coming from many years of experience that can do that for us. So I am very happy to be here. I know that the job that I have in front of me is very hard for the premises that I told you, because really difficult for Italian people to stay, and join, in a group and decide all together, because everybody wants to, to make first their individual business and matters. this is not our business, it's not our individual matters. We have to think about the future of this business. What else? That's all, I mean.
Stefania.
Thank you.
No, just to let you know that from our part, it's a very great honor to work with you and to work with Italian Comité Catarina. And we are very, very happy because our goal at least is to have a huge European committee in order to go all together to communicate on the same language, and it's exactly what we are beginning to do all together, trying to go on the same criteria as you told, and to work together. So it's a real pleasure. We are very, very happy not to be alone anymore and to have you. So
Thank you.
Thank you to Stefania. Before to come to look, I'm very happy for something special. That is, both of them speak about criteria. That is exactly a battle by Esxence. So I think that nothing can exist if we don't agree on some criteria. We have to work on the same criteria, agree on that, and working together. Then I have to disagree a little with Stefania about Italians. So I think that is historical reason. You know that Italy, a lot of people forget, is the younger European country. So we have a very limited story, and unfortunately Italy has an advantage and a disadvantage. We are used for a long time to have foreign people in Italy. So we had Spanish, we had French, we have German, we have Austrians, and we have a lot of small countries. So you know, we have also the Pope, so the Vatican, if you want, but it was very important. I think that is the richness of Italy, because we are capable to understand different messages coming from outside, and at the same time we are very proud of our heritage. So I think the work of a committee in Italy is surely difficult to let Italians work together, because they fight each other for a long time, or someone asks them to fight against themselves, so that is a little different. I think that is, on the other side, the real reason why artistic perfumery in Italy performed better. And the reason was simply because we have so many different cultural aspects, and we, in any single small country in Italy, we have people committed to discover something special. And a lot of people didn't realize that in Italy, up to now, we have 6,000 perfumers. And when we work with 200 of them, we are absolutely niche. But we have each of them in a single country. So exporting the Italian model is so complicated, and the committee in the other country are so important and fundamental. Okay, no, sir, that is, it's my time. And it's important because each country is different, the culture are different, but the criteria must be the common. And we have to work together respecting each other. So the message by Esxence, once again, I repeat every time, Esxence want to have the brand owners, worldwide expert manager. That is an appointment in which we decided all together what will be the trend in our comments, in our future. And but we have nothing against that any single country develop its own manner to have contact between distributors and retailers. So domestic event, welcome. Absolutely welcome. And so, you know, in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Germany, in France, in Italy we have something, in French we are still working on it, and it's tomorrow in Spain, etc. Welcome. And that is, according to Marie, that is the only manner to coordinate, to have the feeling of our strengthness, and to can work together in order to protect ourselves and to protect our consumers. And so now, please look, you have a role now to explain us what is the risk and the potential. Or better.
Good morning, everyone. I think I met a few of you already. So we're going to talk about something that is interesting. Just, you know, some words about me. I shouldn't be here. Genetically, I was not coded to be here. You know, I had a traditional business training, and I worked for very large companies, and then, you know, I fell into perfumeries when I was really young. And then I went back to my first sort of love with this business 11 years ago when I bought back the different company, and then we all started this with Thierry de Bashmakov. Now, the interesting point is that I know very big companies, people from Brussels, and we're going to see that it has an impact on what we're going to talk about. Here it says a death sentence looming over our heads, right? Which is absolutely true. We are completely delusional. We love what we do here. We love to share the fragrances. We love to share what we create. But if we don't do anything, nothing will happen 5 years down the line. This is how we think the business is. It's all nice and flowers and, you know, fruits and stuff like that. But this is how regulators see our business. They think we're just, you know, like a chemist. By the way, very dangerous, potentially, because we could harm all the consumers that are out there, and they do not see us as we see us. And it's something we need to bear in mind, because if we don't do anything about this, again, Esxence will be gone in 5 years, and we will all be gone in 5 years. I don't want to dwell on all the technicalities and stuff like that, but just to give you a rough idea of where we stand today as I speak. Has anybody here visited this website that you see on the slide? If you could raise your hand. So I have one. Are you cheating? You're from the US. Okay. Okay, I have one, I have two. Anybody else has seen that website? All right. Now, this talk about an initiative in California from the Air Resources Board that I personally heard about a month ago, about a month and a half ago. Now, what these guys say is very simple. Whether you provide us all the information on the fragrances you sell in California, and when they mean all information, they mean the, you know, the European huge technical file that, you know, the brand have, plus lots of data we don't have because we've never been asked for. Oh, by the way, you have until the 2nd of April to do that. I heard about it on the 18th of February. If you don't apply or abide by the rules, you will pay $10,000 per reference you sell in California, and you have never heard about it. When I was saying doomed, I meant it. And that's happening today. This is part of the inside of the website. If you understand it, explain it to me. If you do not have the access, you know, file, the access, I can't remember the name of that, software, I'm sorry for that, you just can't fill it in. Have you ever heard about it? Apparently no. You know, just 2 people in the room. 3, oh, it's getting better, a 50% increase, that's good. So if you don't do anything, leaving this store as we speak, your brand, if you're selling in California, might have a fine of $10,000 per reference you sell there. Another very simple example. Have you ever received that type of document for your fragrances? You know, that's an IFRA 47 document, and all the companies who actually produce the fragrances have to provide it to the brands. And this document, you know, in all these technicalities, says 2 interesting things. We're talking about the exact same fragrance, and we're talking about the exact same composition. If you happen to be shaved, men or not men, whatever the description within the IFRA is shaved, then we are allowed to get this fragrance at 3.66%. If you are a woman, we are allowed to produce it at 11%. 3%, 11%. We're not talking, it's not the same world. You know, everything is different in between a fragrance at 3% and 11%. Why is that? Because some regulators has decided that some components might be very harmful for men like me who shave. I'm just not allowed to sell this fragrance if I do not declare it as fragrance for women. It is pure nonsense, but technically, I would not even be allowed to sell it. So what we're actually doing here, and these are just a few examples of, you know, very harsh things that are being prepared. What we want to do is really to recategorize what we do as art, not as, you know, a chemical industry that is potentially dangerous. That's the first thing we want to achieve. The second thing is we want to inform better. There's no problem informing on the website, giving all the information on our perfumes, but we don't want to provide a mile-long INCI list because nobody cares. We want to consider perfume as an independent industry and not as a sub-context of the so-called cosmetic industry. You know, exactly as Silvio and Mary and everybody has said, not only perfume is different, but within the perfume industry, the artistic perfumery is one of a kind. And of course, we want to be realistic. There are risks in some components we put in there. Very small and limited because it's a regulated business anyways. And there's no point in trying to avoid any risk, which the regulator is trying to do. So basically, you know, once all these committees from the different countries have actually developed and gathered, we want to take it to the next level, which is to go directly to Brussels and use the same tools as the other guy does, which is lobby, with, you know, nice lobby company, to make sure that, you know, we can have the same discussion in 5 years. And eventually, I won't have to show the slides here. But thanks for your time.
I had to add, I would to thank so much Luc for the work he's doing since more years in that field. And one of the message we have to, not technical, to tell the people is why in the hell they are so demanding for perfumes that you apply on the skin and not so maniac on food and not so maniac on drugs. So if a sulfamidic can cause the death of someone, I have no news about the fact that someone imposed to withdraw sulfamidic from the market. And you know that someone simply assuming an aspirin should have a big problem in allergy or something like that. But no one asked to withdraw salicylic acid from the market. And what's about cracker, bread? If you have celiac, you can have a big problem, and you are eating it. So we are speaking about something we are applying on the skin. You can have a patch test in order to understand if you can have a problem, but I have no one information of a death for perfumes. If you have any information, please give me. In the past 500, 600 years, and probably 3 millennium. So it seems completely unbalanced. And there is no reason for that, or better, there are reasons, but it's not, probably it will be a long story here, and more political, economical, but what I think, on the logic point of view, there is no reason at all. And why you want to forbid me to use Okmos? For what? And why you oblige me to separate Bergapten from Bergamot? Why? For what is the incidence of allergy? So generally speaking, if I'm correct, there is someone that knows better than me here, but I think the incidence in average 1% is maximum of the human population as maximum, but considering all the different chemical products, but generally everyone has a problem with a chemical product, and the incidence is less than 0.01% for a single chemical compound, but very often lower. And so we have a lot of other problems. So that is just to let the people to understand that it's not a battle to protect ourselves. It's completely illogical, incoherent, and correctly look is telling us, please consider in the proper manner, and don't oblige small company to have a so incredible investment in money to demonstrate what? Sincerely, I don't know. And remember that for a lot of time, the only thing the consumer read on ingredient list in a perfume was water, alcohol, perfume. No one knows what perfume is. And for a long time, we obliged people to use something with the only information and ingredient was perfume. That's all. And now we are coming on the complete different perspective when we will have 140 allergens to quote in an ingredient list. We'll be completely crazy. And that is a big problem. Unfortunately, it's not the only one. But it's a very important, so I think the communication, the press, have to tell the people, perfume is not a poison at all, please. So now I have to give the role to the kind Johann to speak us. Wonderful. If we have art, if we are content, if we are capable to get something, what's happening in the world of marketing for a niche?
Thank you, Silvio. Good morning, everybody. My name is Johann Vitrey. I'm the owner of a company called Sesame. We are distributor and agent for several brands in the Middle East and also in Europe. So we do carry brands from Europe to the Middle East, and now we are starting to carry Middle East brands in the European countries. I started my career was almost 10 years ago in Dubai. I was working with a company which has brands like Creed, Lalique. At that time, they had Maître Parfumerie Gantier, Le Labo. So it was for me the first experience in the luxury industry and to discover the hyperluxe perfumery. When I decided to come back in France, I decided to open my own company, having the chance to already have the clients. So I was sure that my business will be successful, because when you have the clients, it's quite easy to make business. But the thing is that when I came back in France, I discovered that what I will have to propose them was something very confusing, because I discovered at that time the real and the reality of what was called the niche perfumery industry, what I do prefer to call the artistic, alternative, and rare perfumery. And for me, it was very confusing because there was many brands, and as you all said, because of all those regulation, all those competition, it was very difficult to see, like, okay, what can I bring them? What I am allowed to bring them also? What kind of brand I'm allowed to bring to the Middle East compared to the law, compared to the regulation, compared to all those things? And I am sure that what I have in hand, what I have in my luggage, is a real artistic brand. And the first gentleman with whom I was discussing about that was Silvio Levi. It was a few years ago, and we spent 4 hours in my office in Paris. It was our first meeting, and all people that know Silvio could say that 4 hours is nothing. He could spend 2 days with you. But anyway, I was lucky to have almost at least 4 hours with him. And we discovered that for Silvio was something, of course, evident, but for me was something new, that the industry was huge, but with no link between all the brands, no link between the countries, no link between the brands and the clients. And this is not what we wanted. We wanted to make it more clear, to make it more efficient. And we had several discussions together, and of course with people also like Marie from Parfum d'Orsay, with François Hénin from Jovoy, and some other people, and we said that we have to do something. And not only the brands. We as distributor, we have to help them also to be organized, to be more professional, to be more clear, and less confusing for the clients that come to that kind of show. Of course, coming to a fair like Esxence gives you a first chance to make the difference between what is an artistic brand, because they are here, and what is not, because they are not here, or they are outside getting the benefit of this show. But the artistic brands are here, because there is a technical committee with experts that evaluate the brand, trying to make sure that the brand that will be exhibited, they are real, artistic, and serious and professional brand. Then there is a second step. I consider Esxence, you know, like the International Automobile Fair, where you have the very beautiful automobile brands, where you have also the concept car, which are beautiful. But then the distributor, the clients, has to make sure and to make the difference between what I can sell and just what I can upload and respect. But for different reasons, I won't be able to buy it for my country. And for that, and this is why we had all those discussions, one more step was needed. Then with Marie, with Luc, with François, with Anna, Nicolas, and some others, we said, let's do something different, additional, not on a side, not something separate from a show like Esxence. Let's have a committee that will have its place in the Esxence, so that's why you can see on the board of each brand when they are part of Comité Joséphine or not. And we were very happy to have those discussions also with our Italian friends, between distributors, because Nobile is also a distributor, Silvio is also a distributor, but also with brand owners, to say it's not something that has to stay French only. It has to be also in Italy. We are already in discussion with the German, with the British. We hope to do something with Spanish, because there are some brands over there. And why not quite soon to have this European committee? And why a distributor has his place in that kind of committee? Once again, it's because we all have to bring our expertise and our ideas to how to make it efficient. So this is why for the committee you have, for the Comité Joséphine, but it is the same for the Associazione Caterina. Caterina. Mio italiano non è perfetto. So you have so the brands can apply to be part of the technical committee. Then the member of the committee will make sure about 4 questions that we will see right after. And then to get the label of the Comité Joséphine, to have it on their packaging, to have it on their booths, to have it on, they have to apply, and their brand have to be evaluated by a committee of experts. Those experts are professional and quite well recognized in our industry because of their expertise, because of their work in the industry, and coming from different activities of our industry. So you have some distributors, you have some journalists, you have some perfumers, people like Bertrand Duchaufour, that I'm sure you all know. You have journalists like Laurence Ferrat, who's quite famous and very famous in France as a journalist in our industry. You have also what we call the other activities in our industry, but people who are making the conditioning, people who are making the packaging, people. So all those actors of the industry are part of the committee to evaluate the brand generally, globally. And not only in the perfume, not only in the distribution network, but that brand, we have to make sure that it deserves the label of Comité Joséphine, Associazione Caterina, and we hope quite soon the new committee in Germany, Spain, and UK. So the 4 first criteria to enter in the committee and to be member of the committee before having the label, but at least to become a member of the committee, are quite simple and very easy to evaluate. For the French committee, but it's the same in Italy, it has to be a French company. So if you want to apply to the Comité Joséphine, your company has to be located in France. The product have to be made in France. Of course, not 100%. It would be so difficult, especially for some part of the component of the product. You cannot ask for 100%, but it has to be between 50 and 70% at least made in France. So we just ask the brand to a fill form saying and confirming that the packaging is made in France, that the cap, they're buying it in France, that the bottle also, whatever. And at the end, 50 to 70% has to come from the country where they apply to the committee. Then the brand has to be in conformity with the European law to be exported, to be commercialized. So it has to be a brand that you cannot find only on a shelf in a store that don't look at the conformity of the brand, but the brand has to prove that they have all the certification and all the regulation on the packaging and bottle to at least apply to the committee. Then the last criteria to be member of the committee is the channel of the distribution. We are talking about the artistic perfumery. we know that our industry, our brands, cannot be sold in thousands and thousands of doors. It's not anymore the artistic perfumery in this case. So we ask the brand to give us the list of their distribution channel to make sure that they are not sold everywhere and in some store that we do not consider, with all our due respect, as store for the artistic perfumery. When they have filled those 4 criteria, and once the committee agreed that, okay, 4 points, they made in France, company in France, conformity to the European law, and distribution channel adapted to the artistic perfumery, the brand is evaluated by the experts to give to the brand the label or not. Then we have different criteria that we all evaluate. So we are always around the table about 6 to 8 persons. So once again, journalist, distributor, perfumer. If we don't have at least one person from one of those business, we don't have this committee. So we need to have around the table at least one journalist, at least one distributor, one perfumer, to make sure that the evaluation will be efficient and honest. So the criteria are the following. We have the brand universe. So we have to make sure that we are talking about an artistic concept and not only a marketing one. We are not in the selective industry, with all our due respect for this industry, but it has to be something that honest, sincere, artistic. Then we have the manufacturing quality. Then we check and we evaluate the cap, the bottle. So we have a look at the packaging to make sure that it's something qualitative. Then we have the perfume quality. This is why we need at least one perfumer with us in the committee. I'm no one to evaluate myself if the perfume is high quality or not. I can't say if it will be sellable or not in Middle East, but I'm no one to say, wow, it's a very good, great perfume. And no, we need a perfumer also to make sure that it is not a copy, because it can happen. We have a look also at the conditioning and also at the logistics. So we have to make sure that the brand can be exported. So we make sure that the brand has the MSDS, all the security data sheet and everything. So once we have evaluated those points with a note on 10, at the end we make this calculation, and if the brand has at least 7 on 10, the brand gets the label of the committee. Of course, for the brand it's something great, because they can say during a fair or in their website, whatever, that they got the label from a committee of experts. But for us, as distributor, it's also very helpful, because that gives me the chance to say to my clients from the Middle East, look guys, because of this label, you are sure that the brand, you can export it, they are able to give you all the documentation, which is not the case all the time. But because of this label, no need to ask for many information. The label assure you that the brand can be bought from now. So it's very important for us as a distributor. And believe me, thanks to Silvio and the Esxence organization giving us the chance from this year to have the logo on each booth, because from now, with my business partner, we can make around with our clients and say, guys, have a look at those brands who have this logo. For the others, we have to discuss, because we are not sure yet that we will be able to export them in the Middle East. So that makes a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, I didn't go to details about Associazione Caterina, but as I told you before, the concept is totally the same. We are using the same documentations. We are evaluating the same way our customers, our candidates. And so what Johann said is the same. We have a label after the evaluation for each company. We have only 10 experts for the moment that are seated here. I see some faces here that I thank you very much for your presence. And I want also to tell that the founders of the association are three, not only myself, Stefania Giannino from Nobile 1942, but also Luca Gritti from Gritti and Sergio Momo from Xergiov, just for being more precise, because before I didn't mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Before to give the word, let you to place a question or whatever you want. I think that I'm quite happy to see that starting from the beginning to the end, we cover more or less the concept that is very important: contents, heritage, real value, but let me say artistic, historical, originality, etc. The commitment to create not bestseller, but something that will be a masterpiece in the next 10, 15 years. And we have the company here are obviously more committed to create something that stay on the shelf from 10 to 25 years, not for 18 months. Because obviously you invest on a bottle, you invest on a perfume, etc. And make no sense to make something similar to Estée Lauder or L'Oréal companies, because they are obviously stronger and more capable to do something like that. And we have to do something better. Criterias, and so you see the committee are working on criteria, but it's not only to protect Grana Padano or Champagne, because that is different. We are not protecting a single things. We are protecting in each country, in each committee, and if you want a domestic identity, obviously with everything that is around it, but not simply because we have to fight between Italian, French, and German, but simply to tell the people that is a genuine creation by French culture, Italian culture, that is emerging of culture anyway. So it's not something that is standing, it's something that is moving every time. And what is very important, the general concept is creation around it must be real creation. And so the other big word that I love so much also for example is opportunities. We have to give opportunities to young people, to people that would like to make something really different. So for example, when we open today the fair, you see what? Alex Lee, the created perfume. Someone knows him, but now Alex is a little more famous. Someone designed a bottle, and we put together. This year we decided to stop to have our awards because we made an agreement with Los Angeles Awards. They already do it for some times, and so please, why to have a conflict? Please merge who is working in a proper manner, is working on culture of perfume all together. Then to share all together the problem in how we have to commercialize it. What is the suspect different market has? And so John, explain us what we need. We have to have our ID to let the people to understand that it's not pretenders. And so it's very important the technical committees are not made only by the one that are making the perfume, but something else. People that knows, that have to understand, they have an aesthetical, real approach. So, and God bless Rudniska. And so, because he gives us the concept of aesthetic in perfume. And so I think a lot of people have to study some more the books by Edmond Rudniska and consider how they're updated today. It's very important. And then obviously we are also selling and we would like to get money. We are not poetry only, we are not only artists, we are working, we give opportunity to someone to have a job. And probably we have also the potential today to give some producer, designer, bottle makers, everything about packaging, about communication, what's about the internet for artistic perfumery. And then we can speak about what's about e-commerce. Is an artistic perfumery commerce existing or not? That is a good question mark. Someone else will cover the point, and I thank you. So, but it's a wool concept. But the role of this first workshop was exactly, we have to identify what we are and what the people think we are. And we have to understand what they don't understand, and we have the duty to let them to understand who we are. And we must be proud, but we have also we need to have the commitment to let the people to understand what our values are. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any question is welcome, but it's up to you.